Welcome to The Fence with your hosts, Mitch
and Gar.
Today we have our guest, Brian Reed. Say hi, Brian.
Hey, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for joining us, man. You got a good podcast voice.
Oh, thanks.
The Fence, guys, our goal is, as your hosts, is to help give a leg up to both first-time exercisers with a strong focus on strength training. The topics we cover could help you lose weight, build tons of muscle, or give those already in the gym a bit more direction. Let us help you get off the fence and into the body you deserve. All right, Bryce. So you and Gar have a bit of a history, right?
Yeah, I've known Gar for maybe, 8 years now?
Yeah, something like that. I remember I was still in the army, and I came back from vacation, and one of my buddies,
Yeah, Andre.
yeah, he was like, let's go to my gym. And that's how I met the bride.
What was your major there?
Exercise, sports science, kinesiology.
What made you want to get into that degree?
Well, I wasn't very studious in school, so I went to Temple because I ran track there.
Okay.
I didn't know about the program, so I started off as a history major, and I found out wow, I can get a degree in sports science, and I was like, what is this? And at this time it was the year 2000. So I was like, yeah, I'll switch my major. And then everyone's warning me this is so hard, biomechanics and physiology, and everyone fails out. And we started off at 146 people, freshmen, and then I think I graduated with 7 people in the class.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow. That's gangster. Not going to lie.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
And why didn't you flunk out?
It's just the desire not to want to quit, even though I wanted to quit, but I just refused to quit. And track was on my mind. I wanted to do well with that. And so when people want to do something and put their mind to it, you're just gonna do it no matter how poor you are at it. Like I said, I was not good at school,
Yeah,
but
I could relate when you said super studious.
Right, but I was interested enough to graduate with over a 3.0, so it was good.
Did you have any kind of scholarship?
No, not at first. So I was more of a preferred walk-on. It's hard to get scholarships for men in other sports that isn't football.
Understood, yeah.
There's a balance of equal scholarships for men and women per sport. So women's scholarships in track are 7-to-1 for men.
That's wild.
So in men's track, you get 1 full scholarship. In women's track, you get 7 full.
Because that budget's all eaten up by football.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Why history, though? I'm curious. You just liked history? Or you just had to pick something?
Yeah, it's I was going through high school, and history just came easy to me. And I always scored good grades in it. I was like, I don't know, I'll just go with history.
Brian, you did any sports in high school too, other than track?
Yeah, I was a 3-sport athlete. I did football. I did baseball early on. I did basketball, and I did track. So there's just different times where I let go of a sport and I started another sport because of different reasons. I look back on it. I'll take responsibility for my actions and myself. I didn't know at the time that I had severe ADHD that wasn't treated.
Yeah.
And so I was always misunderstood.
That's a big part of the studious thing too.
Yeah.
Happens a lot with undiagnosed autistic people too.
Yeah.
They think they're just bad learners, or they get this bad rap. People think they're lazy. And a lot of the time it's not that at all.
Just need a different approach to the study, to keep them on the goal. But
Yeah, and that's what my wife's good at, Michaela.
yeah.
Was that the last sport you got into, track, and then you carried that into college?
I didn't do it until my junior year. I did it to stay in shape, and then I ended up being pretty good at it. So it's I was a top hurdler in Eastern PA or something.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And then that transitioned into, so that was the athlete part, right? and then boom, and now you compete in strongmans, and I think you used to do. I did a little homework on you. I think you used to do powerlifting. So tell us about those transitions.
That's the meaty part,
Right.
because you've been doing great in the powerlifting, and he's my powerlifting coach too, being for like I don't know 5-6 years.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so tell us about that transition. I find that intriguing.
Okay.
Because running versus like it's so different.
Yeah. So in college, I was interning in the weight room, so I worked with all the athletes, and then my strength coach at the time was a world ranked strongman. Like he was legit. Like he was 330 pounds of muscle, like 6'3", and when he came, he had set up the gym with all the Atlas stones, and I'm like, man, I love this stuff, because I always, as a kid, would watch it on TV, but I always thought like I was too skinny and scrawny, and like I'd never be big enough to be able to do this stuff. So I always just ran track. I was like, well, at least I can be fast. And after practice one day, I come in and I just ran all out 400s, and Reggie's like, hey man, I want you to lift this stone. I'm like, no man, I'm not. I just ran all out 400. He's like, dude, this soccer player over here just lifted it, so you got to do it now. I'm like, oh, okay. So I picked it up, and like he was all wide-eyed, like shocked. Like he literally thought I was not going to pick this stone up. And then I got it to my lap, and I was like, what do I do with this? And he's like, just grip it up, wrap arms around it, and roll it up and put it on this platform. And so I did it, and I was like, okay, I can do some of this stuff. So that was I always had a love for strongman, and then but I always loved track, and I just never wanted to give up on track. So I still competed in track after college, and then I coached at college in New Jersey for 5 years.
Okay.
Wow.
As like a strength and conditioning coach?
As a fields coach.
Okay.
So and we did really well. We won every championship there was. And then during that time is when I got into powerlifting. I was training at the gym, and there's these older gentlemen there, and they're like, hey man, you should compete in this show. It's with WMPF. It's a drug-free lifetime show. And we think you would do really good at it. We watched you lift, and it's really impressive. And I was like, really? Like, so I never really deadlift before, because most of my training in college was clean and jerks. And
Lots of power.
Yeah. So I think in my first meet, I deadlifted 585 at like 190 pounds.
Damn.
So
Takes me a lot of work to get there.
So that was like probably my best lift, because I had to kind of grow into the squat and the bench being like an ectomorph type of frame.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that day on, every year I would try to go up a class or so. It took me a while to get to 275 class. So I think that I didn't get to 275 until 2014 or 15.
Now that class means you have to weigh 275 or somewhere in that range?
Somewhere between 242 and 275.
Okay.
So
That's a big jump.
Yeah, I generally weighed in at like 258 or something, and when I was really pushing some weights.
Got it.
And then
what was your caloric intake at that point?
A lot. And oddly enough, like they're like, my friends were like, I don't know how you're not putting on more weight. And I'm like, I don't know either, because I would go order entrees, and these guys are like 300 pounds, and they would order entrees and they'd be taking stuff home, and I'm finishing on mine. And little did I know, all these years go by, I end up having celiac disease.
Oh my God. Oh, damn. When did you find that out?
Just a few years ago, actually, maybe 5 years ago. So I've been gluten-free since then.
Crazy.
And so I wasn't never really absorbing my nutrients properly, or vitamins or anything. So I suffered a lot of physical damage from it. And I always just thought it was life. Like I was just tough.
Oh, my metabolism's really quick.
Yeah, I was just tough, and like I always just dealt with the pains I had and the injuries I would get for no reason. But it's all related, you know.
Speaking of gluten free, a client of mine gave me these two muffins 3 muffins as a thank you. And I went and I tried them. And I don't know if you're into sweets or anything like that. I don't have a huge sweet tooth, but I had to eat them, had to try them. And I freaking ate these things. And the blueberry in particular was phenomenal. Like, you know, what's the best part of a muffin?
The crispiness.
Crispy top, right?
Yeah.
And the whole muffin was like crispy top. And turns out they were gluten-free. And there's this bakery, and I'm for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it, but it's over by Giant. The shop.
We go there all the time, and like I don't know why I'm being stumped right now because I know their name. Like I'm like there.
That's just because
Something
it's my fault.
Fork, Happy Mixer.
Yes, the
There we
Happy
go.
Mixer.
Okay, all right.
That's it.
Happy Mixer. Yeah, freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, that stuff's great over there.
Real nice.
It's dangerous.
So you own a gym, right?
Yeah.
Give a plug. Plug for the business. IG handle, Facebook, website.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have an Instagram. It's VIP Barbell.
And that's the name of your gym, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Instagram, VIP Barbell. And so tell us about what the gym's about, you know, what your main focuses are, what kind of what your ideal client or member is.
Right. So I really cater to anyone. So I cater to anyone that wants a change in their life. I don't limit myself to a label. And like I think labels are very limiting for people in general. So I'm very accepting of whoever wants to come in. So I've trained a 9-year-old gymnast to an 85-year-old psychologist. You know?
My spread's pretty wide too,
Yeah.
man.
So, and it's very rewarding because you get to meet a bunch of different people and you realize that we're all the same in a way. And then yet we're all different because of our professions, our path that we've walked. And, so I'm very grateful for all the people I've met, you know, because I learned from them as well as they learned from me. So it's been great.
Cool. What's the equipment setup like over there, man? What do you got? Brag.
Okay, so I got Elite FTS equipment, Westside Barbell equipment, Rogue equipment. I have 3 monoliths because I host powerlifting meets, so I make sure I have a full meet setup. I have about 5 competition-style benches with fat pads and a couple racks. I got a belt squat where I welded a rack in there so you can do belt squat work with barbell work. It's a real monster.
Interesting.
It's cool.
Called Beast, right?
It's called the Beast. Yeah.
It says one of a kind.
Yeah, it's one of a kind.
That's awesome.
So I love it. I do like a million different exercises on it. Tons of kettlebells, competition dumbbells up to 150. I have like every specialty bar in the world you can think of.
Sandbags. We got a
Tons of sandbags. I got addicted to sandbags.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool training, isn't it?
Yeah, because I did this strongman meet like in August.
I think I saw footage from that, and I was looking at some of the stuff. It was like in a parking lot. It was a crazy setup. I saw you doing some crazy carries and stuff.
Yeah, it was such an awesome experience, and I really enjoyed it. And the people in the community was really amazing and kind. And it was at a time where it was like I never thought I was ever going to even bother competing again because of like just my physical condition. So it was rewarding, and I ended up getting like a state record lifting this sandbag over the bar. So
That's wild.
So
How much did the sandbag weigh?
it was 325 at 220.
What'd you have to do? Like clean it up and then just hoist it over?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like you do like this stiff leg deadlift, and then you get it to your lap, and then you got to bear hug it, and then you roll it up and throw it over.
So
the
not
bar.
crazy different from like an Atlas stone lift.
Yeah, it's very similar,
Okay.
but the sandbag's difficult.
It just spills
because
everywhere.
It's so wide.
Yeah.
And so
That's what gives me a little PTSD after my injury.
I know, man. Yeah, dude. That's what I mean. Like all these things are very dangerous, and but I'm willing to take the risk with these things, and
Yeah, and I'm going back to it too. Even I'm being crying right now. Still,
Well, that's what makes you an athlete, though, right? But the people who are doing it, in the CrossFit Games, they're straight up athletes, and they're training for a reason, and they're recovering properly. They have a program,
Yeah.
right? And so that's what makes you an athlete, though, because you are competing, risking those injuries, just like any sports.
Right. Even if you're smart about it, and there's really no judgment on anyone. If someone wants to do whatever they want, they can do whatever they want. It's just, I think sometimes people get a bad rap because people get a little sloppy with their training, or it's mostly people getting sloppy with their coaching. Because because if you're coaching a bunch of people and they're getting hurt all the time, like that means you're just not paying attention.
It's a scary thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I try to keep my people as safe as possible, and they always want to do more. I'm like, no, 5 pounds, next cycle, 4 more weeks, we'll go again. They're like, well, I feel like I can do 20 more. I'm like, just because you can doesn't mean you should, you know?
That's
like,
good. It's beautiful. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot even imagine how many times he stopped me from going more because I felt
can't
good,
imagine.
but he was
I
like,
can't imagine.
no, sit there.
Well,
Don't
I mean,
forget
I
that.
learned from myself, you know? It's like you learn sometimes you learn the hard way, and I'm not a perfect person either. No one is. So, you know, you use the best knowledge that you can use, and then you're willing to take the risk. And if you do get hurt, you just keep going through it. It's a hurdle. Like, you can't sit there and get upset about it. It's something to persevere through. Training and all these sports teach us to work through life, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty much part of the game, you know. Just do your best to avoid all that, you know, hydrate properly, eat everything, sleep this, that. But if it happens, listen, man, it's part of the sport.
Yeah, and you accept it because there's no reason to harp on it.
Well, and there's also like when you start venturing into these, I guess, a little more dangerous training modalities, I think a lot of that falls upon yourself. Like if you're going to get into that stuff, you need to do your due diligence. Obviously, you have your coach when you're at the gym, but when you're training on your own time, you should probably do your own homework and make sure you're taking care of your body. Do the non-glamorous stuff.
Yeah,
The small things. Pay attention to the small things because that's what gonna add to each other.
yeah. I do tons of that stuff. I do cupping, scraping, tempering, site massage.
Oh, yeah.
I got it all. Like,
About the scraping, that's actually there's some specific name to it, and I forgot about it. But when I tore my biceps, Brian did bunch of times. He helped me out. Actually, I have a video. I'm gonna upload it soon, but it's awesome. It's definitely
It's
awesome.
like that little like butter knife metal blade thing.
yeah, you can use the back of a butter knife actually.
Okay.
And so you don't have to buy the tool, so people can do this at home. And that's another thing is I really push people to work to heal themselves and not just depend on someone all the time. Like you need to get to work as soon as something happens, like not wait 2 weeks to see the doctor. You know, like a lot of these things can get addressed right away.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of teaching them that. So yeah, a simple butter knife, a little cocoa butter,
Yeah.
scrape out some adhesions for which way the muscle striations are going or where the tear is from. So you want to push the tear back towards the insertion point. It's really basic. You don't need to feel like you're not good enough to do it because you are, you know.
Oh yeah, and it made the surgery easier too because now muscle is again back to being like a softer and not being like all the one spot like a rock. So it makes, because there's the thing, you know how healthcare works here. They take like a 1.5, 2 months, and imagine if you just left that thing.
You mean to like get you in for a specialist?
Yeah, so then the whole muscle would ossificate at that point. So it actually would harden and be like a bony structure, like my quad
Exactly.
over here.
What'd you do there?
Believe it or not, when I was like 14, I was trying to run out an infield hit in baseball, and I tear my quad as a 14-year-old.
That's wild.
You know, but it all
That's
goes
tough.
It all goes back to the celiac disease and not knowing it.
Okay.
You know, I just kind of like, it's so subtle and people don't notice these things until shit hits the fan. Like I got to the point where I was like, all right, something's really wrong with me. And I was probably like 36 or 37. And I went to the doctor and I finally got blood work, and everything was in the red. I'm like, how is everything in the red when I'm a fitness professional and I eat healthy? And I'm just like,
It's a shame, man. Medicine's come so far. Everything you can get done, like 23andMe and different things, just to test it out. If
Right.
only we had that back then.
I recommend 23andMe because I did that and I had the genetic factors for celiac disease.
And it's a test you can do at home, right?
Yeah.
You just send it in.
Spit in a cup.
Yep.
I need to do it too because I haven't done that.
I need to do it too, actually. I've done the ancestry DNA. That's different. And so we try to keep, introduce different professionals from different fields, so there's different twists. But in the end, I want it all to come back somehow to provide some value for those people. And so my question is, would you recommend powerlifting for somebody that's just getting into the gym? Powerlifting, or give me your hot take on all of it.
Oh, definitely. I think life's about the experience, and for people to be successful, they have to experience things and not just train. Like maybe start off that way, but then let's go experience something. Let's sign up for a meet. Let's go sign up for a marathon. Let's go sign up for a powerlifting meet, whatever they're geared towards. Powerlifting or strength training, whatever you want to call it, strongman style training, all these things. They all should be in the training. You want to have a well-balanced person. So we have all these principles to meet. Like you have muscle endurance, strength, flexibility. I can go on. So when you leave one of them out, you're not a balanced person. And so balance is a big thing for me at every level. And so I like to incorporate in my programming some of these things, but it's reasonable within who I'm working with. I'm not just going to like take someone that's never lifted anything and have them do something they shouldn't be doing, like lift a sandbag. That's real heavy, you know.
Or go max effort right away,
said.
right?
Yeah. Well said.
Yep.
What would be your number one tip to people trying to put on muscle? Some skinny broccoli heads.
Yeah,
I'll cut that out.
Yeah,
Don't cut it. Freaking broccoli heads.
No, for any youth, anybody,
Yeah.
any age, any gender.
So
top tips.
So muscle's tough. So first, I recommend not going to a GP doctor, but go to like an anti-aging type of doctor that understands athletes and get the blood work done. Because if you don't know yourself and you don't know what's going on, like in my case, I was chasing my own tail. I could have been whatever. I could have been better, but I don't want to say that. I appreciate where I'm at. So get the blood work, find the right guy. My guy's Dr. Kepko. He's
Call
cool.
him out. Yeah.
He's
Check him
cool.
out.
He's cool.
Is he local?
He's local. He's over in Ben Salem.
Okay.
And he's the greatest guy. Like he'll sit down there and literally talk to you for 2 hours, and he'll fix every little bit of the thing and explain it to you so that, oh yeah, now that's why I have to take vitamin D, and that's why I got to do this. Like
You don't find that often.
no,
doctors.
No, it's more like, oh, this is within range, so it's close to the bad end, but you'll be all right.
So shoe.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 15 minutes and like the copay and all that.
Yep.
So
I mean, here's the thing though. It's like Kepco doesn't take insurance too,
Right.
but you're gonna pay a little bit. But trust me, it's worth it.
it's worth it.
Because I'm going to him too, and I've been going to him for pretty much almost 5 years. First time I went there after Army, I found out so many problems. I had so many problems, and we worked through it, and I think that was the best decision in my life. So it's better to pay for a private doctor that does, make sure that he will check out everything. At the end of the blood test, you're going to end up with a freaking book of your blood levels, all right?
Yep.
So he saved me on many things. Like VA wanted to do my, what do you call that when they take a tissue?
Biopsy.
Biopsy. Yep. They wanted to take a freaking liver biopsy. And they just go through.
Yeah.
With oh man. So he saved him from that one because they couldn't understand why my liver was a little bit high on the enzymes, but it's like everybody looked fine. So he said, just don't train for a few days. Do another blood test.
I remember. Yeah.
And everything was normal.
Oh man, he helps so many people. Man, that guy's amazing.
How do you spell Kepko?
On point.
Kepko.
That's what I would have guessed. All right, cool.
Red Rose Rejuvenation.
Yeah, and he's
still
Red Rose Rejuvenation.
Yeah, that's his
Red Rose
clinic.
Yeah, and he was a GP for so many years, but he was tired of dealing with the red tape and all that. So he works with people that are willing and wanting the help to actually better themselves.
That's super cool. I'm going to have to get in there myself. Somebody we just, on episode 6, Brian Carestia, active core Newtown. Also, he's a physical therapist. He's not in network, but he does one-on-one physical therapy. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've heard of him, and I'm sure you have a bunch of people that you recommend, but this guy, he knows his stuff. He's passionate about it, and he does one-on-one physical therapy. So it's like the same idea. He's very giving and informational with his clients. He sends them home with videos of their homework with him telling them what to do, videos of them performing it, so they're not just looking at a list like your general physical therapist. And he's not in network either, but you're getting so much more bang for your buck. It's like a public defender versus a lawyer you're paying for,
Yeah, exactly. I have a friend like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's same way.
It's a beautiful thing. You get what you pay for, people.
Yeah.
What do you do outside of work, man? Hobbies, passions, vices.
Oh, yeah. Well, I like hiking. I generally would take like August off, and I would just go all over this country.
Nice.
And I would just experience the outside. I would drive my truck, sleep in a parking lot somewhere, and then and then go find like, oh, here's a national park. Let me go there. And
That's cool.
And I'll do that, and then do it all over again. And then maybe I'll stay at a friend's house for a week somewhere, and then I'll stay at my parents in Denver.
I was about to say you have to try Colorado, and you just say like,
Yeah, I've been all over Denver.
I freaking love Colorado, man. For hiking, oof,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
So that's been on a little hold since I've been married. My wife and I had my hips replaced, and then my wife had spinal fusion, and now she's on her way to get another back surgery.
Okay.
But this has nothing to do with training. This all has to do with this is just what happens when you have genetic factors, and we're not making it an excuse, but you know, you can only do so much. And right now she's just got to get her back healed, and then maybe we'll get to experience some of that again. But we had a lot of good times in Utah. We had a good time, and we like Blue Mesa in Colorado. It's really nice.
Okay.
It's like this lake about 10,000 feet, and it's just amazing. You can see the whole galaxy in the sky, and they have tons of hiking trails.
You ever been to Oregon?
That's one spot I haven't been, and
I've never been, but I've been eyeing it up, dude.
Yeah, they
Ever
have.
since I saw Bates Motel.
Yeah. By the way, I want to go back to the hip replacement.
Yeah.
After hip replacement, it didn't took you a while to squat like an insane amount of weight.
Right.
We have a bunch of, as he was saying, we have a bunch of freaking specialty bar you will never see anywhere else. I've been in a heck amount of gyms. Like, bro, we are like a set. So,
well, it's like it comes down to like knowing yourself. And I told the doctor what I did, the surgeon, and he's like, "No, just do your own physical therapy. You don't want to do it." So I just gradually started with my body weight using a box, and I used the PVC pipe, and then I used the bar, and then I just started handling weights. And then within 3 months, I mean, I was probably up to close to 600 pounds, and then.
yeah.
Oh no!
Just from hearing that.
Some fluids.
There's the freaking Nordic curls
Yeah, I'll
this
drink
morning,
for you.
dude.
Oh,
Here you go,
yo,
sunshine. Grab some water.
Yo, that'll do it, man.
Well, I was doing assisted. I was doing assisted so I can focus on the concentric, which I haven't really done much. It's like my second time doing them, and bro, that was wild. Oh, there. Holy shit!
Yeah, dude. When I hit my hams hard, I get Charlie horses all the time. That's usually Friday night.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing after this? Gar said he's hitting the gym.
Yeah, I'm gonna freaking do lower body.
Well, I should probably get home. I've been gone since 3 a.m.
Your wife gonna kill you, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna train. I'm gonna squat tomorrow morning.
What time do you open the gym, man?
Well, it's open 24.
Yeah.
So it's like
I knew that, I
it's like a
think.
club style gym. So people have like an access whenever they feel they need to. Like I have people that police officers. They work in the health industry, so they're at the hospital weird hours, and yeah, so all types.
That's a good crowd to cater to, and I feel like there's nothing else like that in Newtown.
Yeah, no,
Not even Newtown, dude.
No.
Like a go further.
So it's just like a community of people, and everyone knows that we promote kindness, and we're supposed to be accepting of one another and help one another. So everyone shares a piece. Like if someone has to get on a lat pull down, they'll share it. If someone needs a spot, just ask for it. You'll get it. You know, you don't know something, just ask someone and they'll help you. And that's what a gym should be. Like I didn't see that when I was working, when I first started out in the commercial style gyms.
You won't see that in a big commercial gym.
Right.
I mean, yeah, and that's one of the reasons I love this place. You will never see community like this. Everyone is like a family. It's just another level.
Yeah, and it's not a knock on them. It's just where they're at in their evolution of things, and they just don't see a different picture. It's just they see what they see.
Yeah.
You know.
I like that.
Yeah.
No room for throwing shade.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's like, you know how it's in the regular gyms, everyone is like a freaking alpha and everyone is acting tough and stuff. We don't have that thing, man. Biggest dude and strongest guy will help the, like,
Least
the
experienced
one
person.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys both kind of have a scary exterior from the outside.
Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it.
No, but it's always the scariest on the outside. That this guy's a big teddy bear himself, and you seem like a decent guy yourself.
Thanks, man.
Say, what's your number one tip for people not to get hurt in the gym? If you had to say it in a pretty concise way.
Just mindfulness, simple mindfulness,
That's in my core values.
Like you got to look at something first, set it up properly. And then you got to look at your own biomechanics and what's going to be the most efficient way to do this. And everything is physics. So you pick the correct angle. So if a leg extension is set up where the thing is all the way up here and you're 7 foot tall, you better put it all the way down there. And I still will see people not do this, and they're just like clank, clank, clank. It's like, well, they just don't have an awareness. But I really promote that all the time. I say that all the time because that's going to reduce any injuries, because physics doesn't lie. It tells you the truth. So when you do everything proper and you do what physics says, you're not going to get hurt. But it's when you start doing all these weird things where you don't hold your back in extension in the squat and you let your knees collapse on the squat. That means you're not engaging the external rotators of the hip. You're not engaging the extensors in the back. So you're going to put yourself at risk. You're going to have torn labrums in the hips. You're going to have compressed discs. The list goes on. And so that's why my people do so well, is because at the powerlifting meets, like I've had 2 lifters go to the WPO. Like I've had all-time world record holders at the gym, not just world record holders for federation. So and they do that stuff, so I recommend that people do that.
Yeah. And I will add one more thing, if you don't mind. Do every set like it's your maximum weight set, like you're maxing out. Set it up like that.
Yeah,
don't be half-ass, don't do.
Yeah, the bar is the same as 1,000 pounds.
Exactly.
And it may take a few sets to dial in. Like today, like people will be in the lighter sets and like, oh man, my knee turned in. I'm like, okay, next set, don't worry about it. We're going to push the knee out. You're going to keep it set. All right. So you just got to know it takes like 5, 6, maybe that 7th set before you really nail it.
Yeah. So you always have to do it like freaking build up to it. You know what I'm saying? Always have like you are doing your max effort, maximum weight, even your freaking warm up.
A funny question I get from my clients sometimes, and I'm realizing it more and more that I need to address it, is it's like I'm like, all right, let's get a warm up set in, and they're always asking me like, how many should I? And I'm like, until you're warmed up. Like it could be 3 sets, but I just need to pound that home. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a funny question. Like, no, you need to be warmed up. That's what your warm up's for.
For sure.
Something you wish somebody would have told you when you were just starting in the gym.
Oh, okay. That's the best. All right. So at Temple, I was working in the strength room for my internship. So I was like a strength coach, and I had a couple case studies, and I trained all the athletes, and I had some pretty good case studies. One guy was a 7'1" center, and he was just frail, So we're like, yo, we got to get this dude strong. We got to get this strong. And so like within 6 months, I like doubled all his numbers. And so then when it was time to graduate, the head strength coach was like, hey man, we're going to pay for your masters. We're going to give you $9,000. But you can't have a job and you got to be here full time. And I was like, I'm just done. I said,
I would have done the same thing. You did 4 years already,
yeah, 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah. But I was just like, I'm done. Like, cause I already saw like the politics side of everything. Like as soon as like they get a new head football coach, then everyone's gone. So I would have been moving here, there. Like
they clean house.
Yeah. Which is, I just wasn't ready for that. I didn't want to do that. And then in my mind, I was like, I'm just going to start my own business. And like, I was already kind of like, I shouldn't have been working as an athlete, but I didn't want to be behind. So I was already working as a personal trainer.
Sure.
In college. And, so I was going to people's homes and here and there and bouncing around. And then I told the head coach, I was like, I'm just going to open my own gym. And they kind of giggled at me. He's like, dude, you're not going to want to do that, man. You know,
That's the best part. It's like a challenging you.
Right.
Or trying it, dude.
Right. I mean, but there is a lot of success within college sports. Don't get me wrong. Like I dream about it, but I just know a side of it that I just don't want to be a part of it, you know? So, but would I like an $800,000 salary as a strength coach at the University of Georgia? Hell yeah. You know, like, but you know, I just felt like I wanted, to use my individual creativity. And I felt like if I wasn't the head coach, I wouldn't have been able to do that. But that's what made me successful. They saw it in my case studies, you know? So I started my own gym with 10 credit cards.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Because
that's actually awesome story.
I'm like, you know, I'm like this young kid and no one wants to give me money. And you go to your parents and you're like, oh, I'm going to open a gym. And I'm like, okay. You know, like,
people closest to you can be the biggest critiques, you know. People that you
Yeah.
thought would be there for you actually end up motivating you because they're not. They
Yeah.
don't believe in it.
well, my parents are always cool. They're
Okay.
just, they didn't like try to stop me or anything, but you know, they helped me a lot, believe me.
Okay. All right.
So, but once they helped me once I've gotten
So far.
established,
Understood.
you know, so like I showed them I did it. Like, wow, this kid did it. And he like makes money. Like, wow, you know?
Well, they had to see you were in it 100% because, like, there's no, as a business owner, I've only been doing it. How many years you been in business?
This is 22 years now. Something
Wild.
like that.
So I'm going on like 4 something, and it didn't start getting real until like 3. And I was like, oh shit, this is the grind.
Yeah.
And there's no room for like not being 100% believing in yourself, like knocking on every door, won't stop, won't take no for an answer.
Mm-hmm. And that's good. That's what it is. And
they had to see you doing that.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, he's right. He's ready.
That perseverance is a major thing, man. Like I practice these things called the 5 Ps, and these 5 Ps are like a conscious effort, and it's patience, practice, presence, perseverance, and persistence. And so these words are in my head every day and at every moment of the day. And I have to apply a word at every moment, like whatever it is. And a lot of times for me, it's just patience, because I'm just impatient with others, honestly, up here. I don't show it here, but I know to be present, I can't get frustrated when someone breaks something or like does something stupid. And I just gotta be like, oh, you know, it's just where they are. It was a mistake, and not everyone's going to be you. Not everyone's going to have that same heightened awareness that.
Well, and respect for your own equipment.
Respect for your own equipment, but it's like more or less their own health. You know, it's like if you have 3 plates on each end of the barbell and you take all 3 plates off on one side, what do you think's going to happen? Okay, so
They get too comfortable because when you first start, you're like, oh, can I do a 10 off?
Yeah.
Put the 10 on, and you're like, okay.
and the next thing you know, there's a big crash and a hole in your foot.
You got to have signs or something like, hey, this is the max weight. Like, I don't know.
Bro, trust me.
Or class.
First time when client starts, like a new person will come in, he will explain everything.
Okay.
What's do and
You got to
what's
give him like a
don't.
handbook.
It's simply.
And still, yeah. And now I became that guy who's yelling at people when they like a misplaced shit.
Yeah.
So, even
okay.
doing the video and stuff.
No one's perfect. No one's perfect. So I did that. I started with the credit cards, which isn't optimal because I just hate that whole system. I feel like the whole banking system is an evil one. And
Agree.
but I used it to my advantage there, but it wasn't easy to get out of it. Luckily, my client was a local guy that just opened a bank, and he was amazing, dude. Like he was like, how much are you paying? I was like, look, this is what I'm paying. He's like, what? He's like, I can give you a loan and your payment will be half of that and you'll be paid off in 5 years.
He consolidated it for you?
Yeah, he consolidated for me.
Huge.
But banks won't do that for you now.
It's I had before COVID, I was able right during it. The interest rates were so low, and I took advantage of some of that stuff. But I don't know about right now.
Yeah, I know. They make it so difficult. Like I've had all major establishment. Like I've paid off 5 business loans at this point.
Okay.
And you know, and they got worse and worse and worse and worse. It's like, so he gave me that loan as a kid, you know, but it's because he did it in good faith, and he was a local guy. He saw what I was already paying. He knew I was going to pay it. And I did. And then what happens is shareholders get involved in the bank, and they voted him off of his own bank.
Oh my God.
You know?
That's crazy.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
Is he still around?
He's just enjoing his life now. He's not dealing with that crap.
Right.
You know, he's enjoying
corporate world. Gotta love it.
Yeah, it's an evil one. So I kind of deal with credit union. I like the idea of a credit union because it's more local community people, and the shareholders are the community. It's the people that put their money in the bank. So
I like that. Yeah.
Yep. So he consolidated those loans, and then I expanded. The first time I was in the basement of a physical therapist.
Not a bad place to be, though.
Yeah, he just had this space down there, and they wanted to get a little extra revenue at this certain location.
Was it finished?
No.
So we're talking like down and dirty.
Yeah,
baby.
so they had
all
7 locations, right? And I look in this basement, and it was like water damaged, mold,
creepy crawlies,
cobwebs. Like
that's an origin story right there.
7 rooms, and it was. I got a quote from a contractor. They wanted $23,000 to demo it for me and like clean it up real nice. And I'm just like, no way am I going to pay for this. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. So I literally was in there 14 hours a day. I just ripped everything out. I had a client that worked for waste management. He let me take it all the way to the dump. I kept loading truckload after truckload. And dump it in the dump at a place called an ash house, which is interesting. An ash house is a place that burns the trash, and the energy that's produced gets sold to Pico.
Wow. I think there's one of those right on like 95 coming here from Philly.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, that's a pretty solid way to do it, I guess.
Dude, you're making money out of nothing.
Yeah. And so that was that. And then did the electrical work. I had my dad help me with that. And like painting was terrible. It was like a wooden roof. I had to spray it like several layers, and it was brutal. So, but I got it done in like 3.5 weeks. And like a contractor was like, about 3.5 months.
That's crazy.
You know, but it's because I was driven, and I knew I had to do it.
You get whipped into a frenzy, bro. You're pulling all nighters and it doesn't bother you.
Yeah, because I knew I was already paying rent. I needed to get my clients in there. And like there was a few clients that were still wanted to be trained. So I was still going to their house, or I'll go to another gym somewhere. And so that started there. And then the physical therapist ended up moving out because the location wasn't doing so hot for them. And I took over to upstairs. And so I rented for 8 years. And after renting for 8 years, I think it was like $300-something thousand. And I'm just like, man, I could have owned a building with that, you know?
Yeah.
So then I started.
What's the math on that? Where were we located?
In Yardley.
In Yardley? Okay.
Floral Vale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I literally fell into this spot in Newtown. This warehouse was vacant for years and bank owned. And I got it for a steal. So I was very fortunate, honestly,
awesome.
to have it, you know. So now, but you know, that's a money pit in itself. Like, you know, there's always something to fix, or it's got an association, so you always got to deal with something like that. Like, and then, you know, they're cool people, like they're my neighbors and stuff. But it's like another payment, you know.
Yep.
Like, who wants to pay $700 a month and you don't agree with everything?
Oh yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And then, and so everything needs the upkeep. But you know what? It's a investment, and I'm not having to pay rent to somebody.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
So that was my journey in that whole aspect of it. And I'm here. I'm still here. It wasn't always easy. I've had my ups. I had my downs. I have my downs in life. I have my ups in life. But the way I understand life now, everything's going to be up. So I'm really happy with where I'm at. Yeah, I wish someone had the ability. It's an ability. I wish someone had the ability to tell me about the overall truth of the way things really are as human beings and how to treat one another. and that we're supposed to treat each other with kindness and love. And then that's where your success is at. So when people get caught up in materialistic stuff,
or being self-centered. Yeah.
That's not the way to be. That's not success. Success is about how many people you reach and how many people you help. And then everything else is just a result of that. Like, you become successful because of that. It's not about chasing money. It's not about doing it for the money or doing, like we did. We all got into this because it's our passion and we enjoy it. We enjoy working with our clients. We enjoy helping other people because it helps us heal an aspect of our life as we help to heal them. It's not just like we're teaching people to just lift weights. It's like a completely another connection. And this is something, as a younger person, you're not completely aware of until you realize there's more to you and there's more to your soul. Like, you have a soul.
And not everyone gets that get to that level at all.
Right. So like if only someone told me that earlier, I would have been further along, but I can't complain because everything that I've had to go through got me to this point, and then it built me for who I am. And so any trauma or any hardships or whatever anyone ever goes through, something good comes out of it. It's just the truth. It's just the way it is. Like, what good would there be if there wasn't bad?
As long as you believe it too, because a lot of people just take it, oh, this bad thing happened to me, bam, and they just go down with it.
Yeah, you can't fold. It's just you just keep going. You just got to have that attitude. But yeah, that's the bit of advice that I wish I had.
That's some good stuff, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's weird, actually. It's like super subjective how, like, you take for granted some things that you learned early on in life, and then, like, you're like, 25, and then you get smacked in the face with, like, a reality like you just said, and you're like, damn, like, how come nobody broke it down for me? Am I just dumb? Or, like, what, do I have a learning disability? Because how did I not figure that out? Because it makes so much sense. Like, was I not paying attention, right? And that just has happened to me so many times over my lifetime. I feel like I just get smacked in the face with reality about a way things should be, or I should have been operating.
Yeah, we're all gonna get that continually.
Oh yeah. And some people, even if someone will tell you this, we still don't believe it sometimes, and everything will be fine. But then it's like God is testing you. It's like throws that test. And then till you pass it, it happens over and over and over and over, So.
Well, and that's why I'm enjoying getting older so much. I used to be scared of it, as a younger man, but now I just turned 30. And every year I get older now, I'm just like, wow, a little more stability, a little more wisdom, like, wow.
Yeah, that's it. You keep acquiring wisdom.
Yeah.
And then you have no fear.
That's right.
Yeah.
Brian, it was a real pleasure, man. It was nice getting to know you on this podcast, too.
It was great, Gar.
We're hitting that outro.
For bringing me out here.
Guys, we appreciate each and every single one of you that are listening or watching, following along. Without you guys, we would be nothing. We wouldn't have a following. Gar.
Yeah. So you guys are our family, and our goal is to help you and learn more with our guests to help you even more. So don't be shy. One of the reasons to improve our helping skills will be you guys asking us questions. All right, you can DM us. You can send Mitch email. Which email?
I have too many emails. It's at my personal. I couldn't create one for this podcast. Mitchell Black, BLAAK @gmail.com. You can also submit a topic request form on our website. You can DM us, like he said, comment on the socials.
Yeah.
On Instagram @thefence_podcast.
So it's the Fence Podcast on the YouTube. So, and comment, DM, and if we know, that's great. We're going to smack you with that information. If not, actually, that's even better because now you give me a little motivation to learn more for me to give you better information. Don't be shy, guys. Text, DM, comment.
Until next time.
Oh, yeah.